Yeah.
for hearing Robert's voice. So now we're being recorded, I see. So that's
Yes,
good.
I just
So
wanted to warn everybody, we're being recorded now, just so
I
everyone
think
knows.
I might quiet down after I advise Amanda not to steal all the gold bars.
As I mentioned before, at some point, I think Ken is going to mute everybody while there's a videotape, and then I'll talk for a few minutes before the videotape.
Well, actually, I'm going to ask everyone to mute themselves so that we
Okay.
can do sort of the presentation piece. And then after the video, we'll ask you to unmute so that we can have a discussion. Is that okay with everybody?
Yep.
Sounds good. Good deal. Okay, so go ahead and mute yourselves. Robert, did you want to make do you want to talk a little bit
Are
first?
we going to wait for anybody else, or is this it?
I think we're okay for now, but I'll be monitoring while the video is going on.
Okay, then I have a few words to start, and then Ken will start the videotape, okay? Or actually, it's a PowerPoint. Okay, thank you all for joining us today as we celebrate Helen's life via Zoom. Thank you to Bill and Marion who hosted the salon on Thursday in Helen's honor, and numerous folks who have helped Helen over the years. I'm sure Helen is extremely grateful to Gretchen and Keisha, her dear friends who were invaluable to her. Today we have folks joining us from Virginia, California, possibly New York, Wisconsin, possibly North Carolina, and beyond. Thank you for your support. Michelle, Helen's sister, her only member left from her immediate family, other than nieces and nephews, let me know she isn't able to join us today. When I texted Michelle about today while Ken was in France, she told me that she hoped to have a celebration in March on Helen's birthday, so I hope we can do that. First, Ken will play the PowerPoint I prepared while all of your microphones, we hope, will be on mute. Afterwards, anyone who would like to say a few words, please raise your hand so that we don't have everyone speaking up over each other. Ken is going to record this session and the PowerPoint as well. Later, he will place the PowerPoint on his YouTube feed. Okay, I think we're going to play the PowerPoint now.
So bear with me while I set this up. Screen.
Today on October 8th, 2023, as we gather to celebrate the life of Helen Hong, our dear friend. As we gather virtually, we are happy that so many can join us from the salon and many others who knew Helen for quite some time. There are so many to mention that I fear I might leave someone out, so you know who you are, and Helen thanks you for remembering her. I met Helen at a salon Ken held in the small house he was renting on Ivy Street in 1996. One of my fondest memories is of us going to a chocolate and wine tasting in Washington, D.C. Ken and our late Solani friend Rebecca Murdoch joined us. By the end of the second hour, we had eaten so much chocolate we thought we were going to fall into a coma. The tradition of the salon started thanks to Helen, Marianne, and Ken is an annual leap day. We would drive out west towards the Blue Ridge Mountains and catch the beauty of the golden and reddish leaves. Of course, it always included a stop for lunch, and eventually we added a stop at a winery here and there. After our friend Sarah opened a restaurant in Sperryville, we would make trips out west just to enjoy the food. was also great at organizing a group of Salanis to restaurant tastings. A special one was to a Korean restaurant with a group of about 8 of us. Sam, Terry, Ken, Marion, and Martin, and a few others joined us. We also went to Chinese restaurants. Our dear friends Kevin and Carla, who bought a house in Berkeley Springs, West Virginia, invited us to stay with them. We liked this so much that after Kevin and Carla left the DC area, we, Helen, Marianne, Ken, our dog, and I, would rent a house, and we enjoyed the restaurants, the wine bar, and the galleries in town. Of course, we would stop at a winery on our drive back. Before Carter Barron stopped the Shakespeare in the Park series, we would go to DC to enjoy the free play, and of course, we would have a communal picnic before the play. The tradition of Leap Day, which started after many Solanis would go to the beach house in the fall, began with Ken, Marianne, and Helen driving back from the beach house. Unfortunately, I was never able to go to the beach house, but after I was closer to retirement, I was able to join them for Leap Day, which we all enjoyed very much. We have Carla, Kevin, Marianne, Ken, and Helen. Helen is the obvious person who is taking this picture when I was able to join the group. I can thank Kevin and Carla for getting us to enjoy the amenities of Berkeley Springs. Said we often would stop at a winery on the way back from Leap Day. Friend Sarah's restaurant off the grid was important in getting us to gather together and go west to enjoy the great food and the great scenery. On this day that we went to Sperryville, Brad and Don, who used to belong to the salon, but they moved out of the area, were able to join us, which made the event very special to us. Another event which I forgot to talk about is our Christmas parties. And I have a video which I'm not able to upload, but it's a video of Helen getting a Trump doll. And in the video, we ask her, "What are you going to do with this?" And so she grabs the doll in her hand and begins to beat the sofa with the doll, which had us all rolling almost on the floor. She could be a character. You missed the Carter Barron Park, Shakespeare in the Park plays. As I mentioned, we would have picnics. We also would go to the Lover Run Amphitheater in the summer. And again, we would also have picnics for the concerts. His favorite color was purple, and she loved orchids, although she never kept any because she said she wasn't good with plants. But every time I think of buying an orchid, and I buy a purple one, I always think of Helen. Now I always will. Also joined the book club that Ken and I belong to, and on this occasion we went out to a restaurant, probably at Helen's suggestion. Flight for Helen Hong, 9/18/2023. A lush, cool breeze sways the red blossoms like manna falling to the ground, preparing the way. Sit quietly and watch as the purpled winged hummingbird returns to feed at the crimson hanging flowered bowl with its prized nectar. Comes and goes tasting, fluttering away, stopping here and going there, scouting out the most precious fragrances, not unlike our dear friend the foodie, knowing where and when to land, to taste, the best of Arlington, snapping photos to post as we all ooh and gaw. Here, taste this. Yes, it has a nice finish, a bouquet of roasted hazelnut. Try this. Yum. Roll back, not having wings. What's next? Creme brulee, a mousse au chocolat, and churros for the table, topped off with cappuccino. We turn, and our hummingbird has taken flight. We hope to celebrate Helen's birthday on March 20th.
Thank you,
That's
Robert.
beautiful, Robert. Beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Shirley Little sent us a card, and I would like to read it on behalf of Shirley. Dear Robert, dear Ken and Robert and other Solani members, the memories of a wonderful spirit will be carried forever in our hearts. I'm sorry I can't be with you to remember Helen. She was such a bright spirit who left us much too soon. Love to you all, Shirley Little. Now, if some of you would like to say something, if you could just raise your hand so that we don't all talk over each other, Ken, or you could unmute yourself.
Yona.
Yes, I will go start this. I am always gonna miss Helen. I wish I had known her longer. And she's a great, great loss. She's a good friend and wonderful friend and such a happy spirit despite all her health issues. I think of her all the time. Every time I see a butterfly or anything with butterfly, she and I both loved. It makes me teary-eyed. Yeah, I will always remember her, and that's it's a great loss to all of us.
Mhm.
Gone way too soon. Thank you.
Oh, Barbara, did you want to say something?
Yeah, I just always remember Helen as when I actually think of her in the salon, she's always smiling, and 98% of the time she's smiling. And when she's not smiling, she's talking about something, she's interested in something, she's curious and wondering. So something really positive was going on with her all the time. And I can't remember her any other way. I didn't do any of the other many outside activities with all of you guys, and I was gone for a few years, but I really, I appreciate her more now, just knowing more about her. And I think she was really a beautiful spirit who actually had a really full life. And yeah, that's an inspiration to me.
Okay. Bob and Meg?
Did you unmute me?
You're on.
Okay. I am sorry I wasn't able to be there on Thursday. I was wrangling kids, but and I'm gonna have trouble saying. But she's such a bright spirit, and we are reminded every day of Helen. She gave us a piano, and it has been such a gift. We've played it at Salon. I know you've played it at holiday time. When we have friends that play, they come visit. And then during the dark days of the pandemic, my daughter, who was really struggling, taught herself to play piano in YouTube with that piano. And that piano has sustained her and sustained us you know, through those dark days of the pandemic and beyond. And I love to hear it played. I love to hear it played. And I think of Helen all the time when we hear music in our house. She was so thoughtful. And I'm just surrounded by little things that she would, little things that she brought as a hostess gift at holiday time that are just part of our lives. I too remember her, Barbara, always smiling. That is my vision of Helen, is, you know, smiling or laughing, and filled with sort of vibrancy of life. That's my takeaway memory of her. I thought we would have more time. My kids are, the years were gone and going by, and not even 2 weeks ago, I was thinking to myself, Helen and I can start doing things together now, more things together, because you know, the kids are going to be flying off, hopefully, flying the nest. And I just feel like I thought I had more time. I just thought I had more time. So thank you, Helen, for all you are, for all you gave to all of us. Thank you.
Mary Ann, did you want to say something?
Yes, I want to say that Helen's greatest gift to me was to come and join our family. She was just somehow adopted me and the kids, you know, and she'd do little things like she knew that Max loved to go to Mama Chang's, and so she bought him a Mama Chang's waiter's apron to wear, something one would never have thought of, you know. And whenever Ben came down to stay with me, they'd go out and thrift shop and do things together almost every single day. And she joined us in California for Christmas one year. And somehow that was the first Christmas that our family didn't quarrel at all. Because Helen was there to spread goodwill the whole time. And nobody felt anything but good. And so it was a most happy Christmas holiday that we had out there. It's just, as you all know, she was an amazing person, and I feel very honored to have had her as a friend and semi-family member.
Ben, did you want to say something? Yes, I think you're still on mute.
There we go. Yeah, just to follow up, I guess, with what my mom, Mary Ann, said. And I might tear up a little bit. I've known Helen for about 30 years. When I was in college in New York, I would come down and visit my mom. And if it was over a period when there was a salon, I would come to salon. So I met her, I guess, in my 20s, and I'm 58 now. And it always amazed me that, you know, she could be this amazingly close person to my mom, who's obviously much older than me, and an amazingly close person to me. And she could just, I don't know, I mean, she could just function because you're a person. It didn't matter, you know, these other kinds of qualifying, you know, issues. Whenever I'd come and visit my mom, it was like, I didn't have to worry about what to do or to think, oh, my mom's going to drag me to this or that. Because Helen was like the tour guide and like a den mother. I would show up and there would be like, you know, 13 different things to do and with 3 things on each day. And it was like, you know, exhausting, but in the best kind of way. Yeah, and as my mom mentioned, she came to Christmas one year. She's also come up to visit my brother in New York and in the Hudson Valley when I've been there with my mom. And if she's there, then a family who do get on each other's nerves and do fight, there's just none of that, you know, and just her presence kind of emits it. It's not like we don't want to raise our voices in front of her because it's embarrassing. It's that her presence just means that, you know, we don't really raise our voices because we're feeling good all the time. Also kind of a benefit of having Facebook is that so often through the years, I would know exactly what my mom was eating for dinner. Helen and my mom would go out and usher at the theaters. And of course, Helen would take a beautiful photo of the food and post it and would write Helen and Marianne at yada, yada, yada. And I would be like, oh, that's what mom had. And I could even send my mom a little note saying, oh, that steak looks really good or whatever. And as you know, my mom and some others of you know, I've had some pretty tough struggles in my years. And Helen, she's always been a really steadfast support. So I'm gonna miss her. Thanks.
Thanks, Ben. Gosh, I guess my family could have used Helen around at Christmas to smooth out some of it. Oh, Helen was so amazing. It's always astounded me how wide her circle of friends is. She's always bringing new people in and introducing people, and it was always amazing to me how just she was great at like pulling great people together. She's always so generous too. I mean, she never forgot our birthdays or Christmas, you know, little things for that. And she's just, and eating out all the time and getting together. It's just so many memories. It's just, it's still hard to process. So somebody please take the mic from me. Okay, Kelsey, and then Gretchen.
I think I first started being at the same salon as Helen when she was taking care of his parents at a condo or something, but she would always be so loyal, you know, to call our meetings and with her phone and let us know what was going on with her parents. And then, of course, when I went to Arena Stage at Shakespeare Theater, I would see her with Mary Ann ushering. Thanks.
Yeah. Gretchen? Oh, hang on, you're still on mute.
There I am. I was going to start off just piggybacking off of you for a moment. I just found Helen to be a great connector of people. So Keisha first brought me in, but then I don't know, she just connected me to so many of people that she knew as well. And I found such rich value in that. Our times together were like condensed. And so we just did a lot at once. Like, so I would fly into DC for the weekend and she'd be like, yes, we're going to go to like 4 treat places in a day. And this is what the best things are at these places. And so, and then she would have this, like the gift bag for me to go back with some things I didn't get to eat at that same time too. So we did that. We would go on some mini trips together and share some good times there too. And I just really am grateful for the days that I had with her in Wisconsin in July. We went to a baseball game that she was really enjoyed. And then we had another, just the two of us, another great day together, going around town, having a nice lunch. We went to an art museum together and then kind of happy hour. And then Keisha joined us later. So I just have some, what turned out to be the last time I saw her in person, a great day with her. We we always connected by phone, but you know, the pandemic was not great. But one of the things that came out of that is that we actually connected by video call pretty regularly during that and continuing after. So appreciate her initiating that with me and then just continuing that. And we had some great conversations during that time too. So yeah, she was great sunshine for me and so grateful that I got to be her friend and part of her life.
Bill. Oops, I think you're on mute, Bill. We can't hear you.
Hear me? Hello?
Oh, it's awfully quiet.
Okay, never mind. Technical
We
problems.
can hear you.
That's better.
Oh, well, you can.
We could hear you, Bill.
Oh, he's back on mute. Okay, would like to go next.
Yeah. The Helen was just a lot of fun. What-
Oh, I'm afraid you cut out, Bill.
I'm raising my hand if Bill is done.
Okay, Anne.
Although you can't see me, long story. But I hope this isn't too sacrilegious for all of the lovely, lovely tributes that have been done so far. But oh my God, the alcohol Helen and I put back over the past 40 years, the pieces of pie, the adventures where nobody sane would go to. My friends Jennifer Himes and Michael and Helen, and oh my gosh, a whole long litany of unusual and interesting people. Hey, you want to hit Artomatic at midnight? Sure. Hey, you want to go down to the art opening at this sketchy place in DC? Sure. So the adventures I think of are outside of the salon. And just over 30 years of just friendship and doing the most wacky things, and just always a willing and happy and eager partner in crime. Let's put it that way. We had a really good time, and I am choosing to remember her that way. Although, of course, what everyone has said about her generosity of spirit, her enthusiasm and zest for life are accurate as well. It's what made her so special. And as Meg said, I thought there would be more time. I thought at some point we would certainly hit another, late night market or all night restaurant or something like that and get caught up. So it's a good reminder not to waste that potential. So thank you, everyone, and thank you for all of your tributes to a very special woman.
Thank you, Anne.
Keisha, would you like to say something?
Yeah, but I'm gonna cry. Thank you so much for including me today. Helen was like my sister, and she was my mom, the second mom to my son. The day that he was born, Connor and I almost died, and Helen was there like right away for us. And like all of you said, she was incredibly generous and so sweet and so thoughtful. And I'm going to miss her terribly. I'm also very honored that I got to spend the last few hours with her. She's amazing, and I have so much I want to say, but I just can't get it out. So thank you for including me.
Of course.
Thank you for wrapping my friend in and my sister in so much love. And honoring her today because she deserved it. And I wish I could do more to honor her as well. So I'm sorry that I can't. But thank you for saying all of those amazing things about her.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you so much. Let's see, who haven't we heard from? Amanda, would you like to say something?
Sure, I don't know how to raise my hand on Zoom, so I've just been
This
sitting here
works.
listening. I fall into the category of being people who can recognize Helen for her ability to bring people together. I wouldn't know any of you if it wasn't for Helen. I found her on Craigslist and we lived together for a short while. And after we lived together, we remained friends and remained involved in the salon and the book club. And she always impressed me with her zest for life. And I can remember so many times truly being overwhelmed by her energy and not being able to keep up with her. But what was so amazing about her was her ability to get all of those things done that she knew that she wanted to do, and then take a break and take a rest. And she knew when to slow down and take care of herself and rest. And then she was able to get ready and go the next time to go on her amazing trips and adventures and all the things that she loved to do. So she's really an inspiration, I think, for kind of knowing what you want, what's important to you, and prioritizing that, and making your life be about what you want it to be about rather than what, anybody else thinks it should be about. And clearly one of those things was people, and not just people, but good people. So I am so thankful to have been, kind of brought in by her to this circle of good people. And I love that there's a plan to honor her on her birthday next year.
Yeah.
I think that's really nice. And I think I'm good.
Okay. Phyllis and Joe, would you like to say something?
Well, I wanted to thank Miriam and Bill for hosting the last salon. It was nice for me to see people in person. And I haven't seen Helen as much in recent years, just the occasional events we've been to, so very occasional. But I know she was a wonderful person and do value the time I spent with her, and really didn't know, was only keeping up by Facebook what was going on recently. And of course, we're just very sad about that, but her spirit was just indomitable, and we'll miss her. So.
The one thing I think about with Helen is courage. She's a truly courageous person, far too intelligent not to be, and so far too well informed not to understand the consequences of her health problems and the implications for the future. Yet she went through all those surgeries, and she carried on as if nothing had happened. It was nothing. It was trivial inconvenience. She's one of the most courageous people I've ever known.
Following up on that, Joe, just think about her trip to Antarctica just
a
few months ago. I mean, that's amazing that she wanted to do that. She had such spirit, and she was going to do that,
Again, I followed on Facebook. I'm like, who does that? That's amazing.
Yeah.
I am so glad she got to do that. And her first cruise with that same friend that she went to Antarctica, I don't remember his name, but she told me she'd never been on a cruise, so she tried a short cruise with him. Was it last year before? And then when he said he had opportunity for Antarctica, she says, I'm in. Yeah, but that's it. She lived life to the fullest. She got more out of life in her 50+ years than most of us.
I'd like to add on to, if it hadn't been for Helen and you, Yona, we wouldn't have gone to Iceland, because she went to Iceland.
Yeah, she spent a week with me. She and Maria. I'm sorry Maria isn't on here, because I haven't seen Maria since Iceland, but they stayed with me for a week, and she wanted to everything. And I should have sent you, I have a photo of her. We went to a Viking festival where the guys were like 6 whatever, and Helen was like a midget next to them going, ah. Yeah, we had a lot of fun. Went to ice caves, all kinds of adventures. She was always willing to try anything and everything.
And then catching up on what Anne said, I'll never forget her trip to France because she wanted to go to taste the wine. And, you know, she was always, and most of the pictures I have, she's usually holding a glass of wine.
Yes.
Well, wasn't an alcoholic, but one would think that she might be. But, she just loved to travel and to eat and experience and taste different things. And
Yeah.
you're right. Her laughter and her joy was sort of contagious. And I've not said this to anybody else, but Helen reminded me of my aunt because they looked similar. Both were young when they died. Both were ill. And unfortunately, the day that Helen passed, the 18th, was my aunt's birthday.
Oh.
And then the following day, the 19th,
Wow.
was my father's second anniversary of his death. And here I am at home because Ken was in France. So I thought, well, I'm going to organize a reception for her on the 8th of October. So I varnished the patio, the furniture on the porch. I rearranged the furniture and the den to make it more spacious.
You should see it. It's fabulous.
And you know, all this preparation, and I had a menu of food that I was going to make or buy to prepare, but it didn't happen. But this
COVID.
Yeah, COVID has stopped us. But I know that she is watching because the other night I couldn't go to sleep. So I woke up and that's when I wrote the poem for her.
It's a beautiful poem.
And then Ken said, why don't you do a PowerPoint? I said, Ken, I haven't done a PowerPoint since I retired. I don't know if I can do it. So I was last night doing it. And I said to Helen, spiritually, I said, Helen, you better help me because I need to do this for your presentation. So I hope it came off well.
It did.
Okay.
Yeah, it was very nice, lovely. Yeah, and I loved when we went to restaurants with Helen. She wanted to order everything on the menu.
It's true. It's so true.
Sometimes we had to rein her in. We can only eat so much, and we'd all end up taking stuff home.
Yeah. I've never been.
My favorite part was when she would order every single dessert.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we would move it around the table. She claims that I taught her that, but I'm not certain. So, but I had no problem eating dessert with my friend.
No, I too love desserts. I'd rather order desserts than food.
So that reminds me, Robert mentioned it, but I'm going to underline it. The time that the four of us, Rebecca and Robert and I and Helen, went to this champagne and chocolate. Wasn't it all you can eat chocolate?
Yes.
That's all.
Oh,
chocolate. And
heard about that.
But it was so much fun.
Yeah.
Before I forget, for those of you who came on later, all of this is being recorded, and the video that was presented from the beginning, Ken is going to put it on his YouTube feed.
Yeah.
So you can watch it at your leisure as well if you missed part of it.
So I'll post it on the blog at slouching.org. So if you go to slouching.org/blog, you'll find the link.
Okay.
I want to thank you all and apologize that Bill and I are due someplace at 3:00, but it's been wonderful seeing you all. And thank you, Robert and Ken. This time, Robert, especially for making this happen.
Yeah.
We love you all.
Yeah.
We love
Bill and Marion.
Bye, Bill and Marion.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Great to see you, even virtually.
We like to say virtuous.
Virtuously, yes, virtuously. Okay. Anybody have any other thoughts to share?
I do have a follow-up about wine, since everybody has mentioned wine. I had ice wine with Helen way before she had it in any other country because she was it's another description of how curious she was. She'd heard about it. She knew she wanted to try it. And then, of course, she had to go to the country where it was made. But I had it before any of those thoughts even happened to her. It's like, I mean, what, like 38 years ago? When were we drinking ice wine? I'm going like, are you sure you really want to try that? Like, yep. And everybody at the table had a great time, of course.
That's great.
Carter, our son, said to me in the car yesterday when I told him we were going to be doing this Zoom today, he said, Helen was my favorite Solani. And I have to tell you, I hesitate to bring that up because I don't want to diss any of these. For a 17-year-old boy to say that, you know,
Yeah.
multi-generational ability to connect with multiple generations, Helen.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, she did.
Do you remember our movie nights that we used to have?
Yes.
Yeah.
I remember the Red Balloon when the kids watched the Red Balloon with us. They must have been like, they were little.
They were little. They were like 5 or 6.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And didn't we also watch one with umbrellas?
Yes. The
Umbrellas of Cherbourg.
Cherbourg.
Mm.
Yeah. And I think a Charlie Chaplin film too.
Oh, yes. There were lots of questions about the silent film that was not computing for their little brains.
Why don't they talk?
I want to mention as well just how incredibly generous she was, but also thoughtful about it. You know, she would come and visit us on Christmas, or we'd have Christmases together, and we would all have like one present for each other. And Helen would pull out like a suitcase and have like 3 or 4 different presents, but all like my mom was saying about the aprons. My brother's an amazing cook. They were all really focused on exactly what she knew our interests and our likes were. And then the other odd thing is I would come and visit my mom in DC, and it's not Christmas, but when I'm there or my brother or my sister, she has like 3 or 4 different gifts for us just because she's Helen. It's impossible to like come and visit her without walking away with some, you know.
I have a story about one of those gifts that she gave me. Long ago, I had in my china cabinet in our dining room, there are 2, there's a milk and a sugar bowl. And all these years, I thought they were rabbits. And Ken said, after I got this gift from Helen, and he said, Robert, they're pigs. So one year, I don't remember what occasion it was, she gave me a crystal little pig with wings on it. So we had this pig theme going on. And the first time I got it, I thought, well, why is Helen giving me pigs? She thought I loved pigs.
Maybe you had said something at some point.
Well, it was she saw it in the china cabinet.
So therefore
Robert liked it because he thought they were rabbits.
Yeah, got it. Yeah.
They were
pigs.
They were very cute pigs.
You confused her.
Yes. And to pick up from the time that she got the Trump doll that she literally eat on the sofa during the at Meg and Bill's house. Bob's house, excuse me. That little pig, the flying pig, I thought, oh, I have a niece that whose father was a devout Republican. And so I thought, I think I'm going to re-gift this. So I gave it to her for Christmas, and she opened it. And at first I said, if you guess this message, I will vote for When Pigs Fly. $20. And she said, well, could you tell it to me again? I will vote for blank when pigs fly. And she thought about it. She said, Republicans? Bingo!
Yeah.
Anybody else have a memory to share?
I only wish we could be here in person so we could now have food and drink, because that would be Helen's way.
And take pictures of them.
And take pictures of
Yes.
the
Yes. And post them.
Virtually, please enjoy whatever you're drinking or eating and think of Helen as you do it today.
I just had before our salon a wonderful piece of cake with cheesecake bottom, then chocolate fudge, and on top of that, chocolate cake covered in chocolatey frosting with whipped cream on top, and a cup of good coffee. And I know Helen would have loved it because it was rich and decadent, and you could only eat a small slice at the time, but you can eat it twice a day. Yeah. So yes, she definitely was the most foodie person I have ever known in my life, and ever will, I'm sure.
Thank you, Robert and Ken. It's really been a pleasure to be here and hear everyone talking and sharing too.
Yes, thank you so much.
Of course.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thanks everybody for joining us this afternoon. And I'm going to try, I've never done this recording of the Zoom thing, but we'll see how it comes out. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you both, and feel better.
Raising my hand before you sign off.
Oh, yes.
Ken?
Yeah.
Would you like any photos that we happen to have of Helen that you might not have seen?
Oh, of course.
Yes.
Sure.
I mean, to add, this is why I'm muted, all the dogs, way too many dogs. To add into any like slideshow or something like that.
Yeah. I'll figure out what to do, but I'll probably post them up on the blog so that people can see them.
And her birthday is not until March, and so there's plenty of time to put something together for that.
Yeah.
And Robert, all the furniture will still look great by March if you want to host then. Oh, okay.
It's going to be a tough winter.
Yeah.
Those may not look so great.
And there will probably be too many people because her family.
Yeah,
so
true.
we thought, and it'll be Michelle's decision to
Yeah.
We'll talk.
Yeah,
We'll talk.
where to have it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But there'll be a salon notification and remembrance, even if there's not part with the family.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, thank you guys again. Lovely
Thank
to
you,
see
everybody, for joining us.
Yeah, thank you so much for putting
Thank
this
you very
together.
much.
Thanks. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye,
Bye.
everybody.
Bye.
I'm going to stop the recording.